Let's be honest, Winston.
Yes.
When I was first introduced to Winston Warrior, it was through the song Bad For You. So for my listeners locked on to Ebony 104.1, please tell us, who is Winston Warrior? Give us a bit of the history behind the gentleman.
Well, I only have 5 minutes to do it. I mean, how long do we have? I mean, let me first say that Winston Warrior is my real name.
Right.
I was born with that name. So a lot of people ask me, well, what does it mean, and how did you get it, and did you make it up? And I'm like, no, it's me. It's, and I feel like I'm living up to the name. I'm basically a simple Southern guy from Atlanta who had a dream to sing, when I was a little kid, like everybody else or most singers, and was fortunate enough to be pretty successful in a group when I was at the University of Miami. I went to the to the U. I'm a Cane, and formed this group, and we did really well in South Florida, on South Beach, and in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and made it to the point that we were almost signed by a big label in New York. Mm-hmm. But the people that we were with, who were around us, were not really out for the group. They were out for their own personal interests. So that deal fell through, and our years of work kind of just went away in like a phone call. Mm-hmm. And at that point, I took my degrees from the University of Miami and came back home to Atlanta, threw myself into the corporate world, and about 4 or 5 years ago, music came back to me, and I decided to go for it again. And here I am talking to you, and your listeners listening to me, and it's kind of who I am. I mean, it's been a second chance for me, and I'm really grateful. So that's who I am.
Well, that's nice to give us the history. And like you said, this is your second chance. So I'm pretty sure you're going to just keep on scoring. We'll talk about your presence on the Billboard charts in just a few minutes. But just listening to some of your songs, because you've emailed me a few of the jams, and I just have to say I love Elevator. Just need to push that in. Right? Yeah, it's so sensual too. I just love it. Now, stylistically, your body of work that we, and I said we, the listeners here at Ebony 104.1 have heard so far can be described as sort of old school.
Yeah.
And I've read that you have even been compared to Donny. You're talking about Teddy and Luther Vandross. How do you feel? How does that make you feel?
I'm a little intimidated by it, I mean, those are the legends. But I'm honored because a lot of people have said that my music reminds them of that type of music. Maybe not my voice itself, because people are like, I can't really place the voice. It sounds so different. But the way I tell a story in the song, and the way the song kind of affects people, and it makes you smile and laugh and reminisce and think about your life experiences. That's what Donny and Luther and Teddy and all of them used to do, which I think was missing a little bit from music. And so I'm happy that people are comparing me, because I think that I'm accomplishing my goal of trying to bring that type of music back to the ears of the world. So I embrace it, but it is a little scary.
I know. But you mentioned those. I mentioned those names, and you agreed with me. And I'm pretty sure. Am I right in saying they were some of your influences, and they were the persons that fueled you artistically as well?
Absolutely. I didn't pattern myself after them because, again, I didn't want to copy their riffs or anything like that. But their style and the way they brought music to life, and I can just remember as a kid, cleaning up on Saturday and listening to certain songs and vacuuming and sweeping and whatever, and just kind of grooving to the music and having a good time. And people are writing me and saying, hey, I remember this part of my life, or this reminds me of this girl, or I can identify with this. And a lot of times I don't think, well, I can't say a lot of times, but some music nowadays don't do that. I mean, you think about it for the few weeks that you hear it, and it makes you dance, whatever, and then after that it's gone. It's a one-hit wonder. It doesn't become a fabric of your life. Where I think my music is becoming that type of influence on other people. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
That's the stylistic influence that they brought to me in my writing and my music.
Now, earlier on, you mentioned you were quite a bit for some years inside the music scene. So most recently, you've given us this new project. Let's talk about that new project, Lifeology 101. First of all, what is the process? What was your thinking process behind this particular album? Because you just mentioned that you like to employ the duty of a storyteller. Is that a major part of it?
Yes, because every song I co-wrote and it's a part of my past and an experience that I've been through. So from Bad For You that you mentioned earlier, all the way to Elevator, I mean, you know, it's part of my experience. So I wanted to bring those stories to life. And I think that's why a lot of people have been, you know, identifying with it, because they're saying, hey, I got a Bad For You story.
Yes.
I mean, don't we all, you know what I mean? we may have done something in the elevator, but we've done something in the car.
Yes.
We've done something, you know, in the park or wherever we've, you know. So people are like, yeah, this is real stuff. This is real life, you know, and it's not popping bottles and it's not partying in the club, which is cool. And I've done that too, but, you know, day in and day out of our existence, I mean, most of what we're dealing with is love, loss, happiness, you know, defeat, triumph, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So that's what I've tried to do in Lifeology 101, which is why I called it that. It's life lessons, the basics. So Lifeology 101.
And how many tracks are on this album, Winston?
There are 12 tracks on the album.
Can I ask you this question? Because a lot of people, I heard so many people ask this question to artists before, but you must be prepared for this question. What's your favorite on this album?
Yeah, you know, people ask that. And then when I hear the answers that artists have given, which is, I really can't pick a favorite, I'm like, I know what they mean, because when I listen to each song, it reminds me of an experience, which is where it came from. I really like Bad For You because it is the one that set it all off for me, and it's done so well, so I gotta like that one, right? Keep Moving is like my theme, my anthem, and so I definitely have a soft place in my heart for that. I definitely identify strongly with Fragile, which is a song about, you know, a relationship that was the perfect relationship from the outside, but when you looked inside, it was a glass house and it was fragile. So, you know, that means a lot to me. Elevator means a lot to me.
See?
I mean, you know. So, I mean, I it's hard to narrow down a favorite, but, you know, I definitely have those few that are like my top. But,
Now,
you know, who knows?
When you were completed with Lifeology 101, when did you know, all right, this is enough for the album, I've placed enough really beautiful jams on this album, even though you may want to sneak in a couple others? When was that point, you know what, this is it here for Lifeology 101?
Well, let me tell you, frankly, it was when the money ran out. I mean, this is real.
I love that.
I mean, it's real. I was like, you know what? I don't have money to record, and it was interesting that I am an independent artist, so I'm self-financed, and everything that I've done from the beginning to now comes out of my pocket. You know what I mean? So, you know, I had to be really conscientious about it, and I no longer work. I mean, I left my job in April of last year. So it's like, you know, this is what I do. So I had to be really conscious. And so every song had to be good enough to stand on its own, because I didn't have the luxury of recording like 30 songs and then picking the top, you know, 11 in a remix to make 12. I mean, each song was like a song that I recorded with a purpose, saying that this song will be something that is going to stand on its own. So once I had that 11th song, and then I went and did a remix contest for Bad For You because I wanted some international kind of feel on it. I was like, this is it. This is all I got. I mean, hey, it's got to go. I mean, you know, so that's real. I'm keeping it real with you.
We talked about Bad For You a while ago. Now let me just tell you, on Ebony 104.1, Ebony, Bad For You is considered one of our signature jams, and that means it's a jam that you will certainly hear on Ebony 104.1. It's sort of, we have our signature written all over it. It's such a beautiful jam, and I'm telling you, my listeners are like, JD, can I hear Bad For You? And I'm like, but I just played it. So if I could double up on the jam sometimes, they would be pleased with that, right? So Bad For You, you said you it's one of your favorites, if you want to, we can say that word, but I also read that it has done so well on the Billboard charts. Was top 30, yes. Am I right?
Yes, top 30. It peaked at number 28, which is crazy for an independent artist. I mean, you know, I'm competing against so many great and established artists, and I'm amazed that it keeps growing, even though I don't have the finances to keep pushing it. I mean, it's still doing its thing. I mean, and I thank your listeners for loving it, and I get it's starting to play in Australia and Perth, and it's just crazy. But yeah, Bad For You is that jam, you know?
So then what's the next single? I know you said Keep Moving. Is that a single as well that's been released in the U.S. already?
Yes, that's the next single. It is picking up and it's gaining on the charts as far as radio play. It just got picked up by VH1 Soul, so it'll be playing on air. It got picked up by Music Choice, which is an on-demand channel that's on our cable here and satellite here. Radio is picking it up now. It is starting to really heat up, so that is definitely the next single. And ironically, I didn't think it was going to be the next single. I thought Elevator was going to be the next single, but I started getting these notes and these Facebook posts and these Twitter posts from people saying, Keep Moving is the song that has really inspired me to, keep going after I've been, fired from my job and downsized, and Keep Moving is the song that gets me up and it keeps me going to the gym so I can lose this weight. And it was just getting this kind of, real strong connection with people emotionally. And I'm like, there may be something here. So I talked to some people I work with. I said, hey, let's throw out Keep Moving and see what happens. And sure enough, a lot of the program directors have been like, oh my gosh, this is even better than Bad For You. We love this. This has such a strong message, especially in the States with everything that's going on with our economy and the hard times people are going through. So yeah, it's the next single and it's doing pretty good right now. So we'll see.
And congratulations on that jam, Keep Moving too, because I did play that a couple times on my show, and I'm telling you, just as you mentioned a while ago, the message behind it is so huge. It's something that really lifts up our listeners. Really, if you're down and out and you're on that ground and you really don't feel like you can get up, that is just one of those jams that says, hey, dust your knees off and get up and do it again. So thank you for that. Do it again.
Yeah. That's right. And that's what I had to do. I mean, for a long time, JD, I was destroyed by music and the disappointment that happened with the group, and so much so that I tried to bury it and put dirt on top of it and put some flowers on it, and just leave it be, But it was too strong of a connection in my soul, and it kept coming back, and something said, don't stop what you're doing. Got to keep going. You got to keep moving. And I said, wait, whoa. And Keep Moving was the first song I wrote for Lifeology 101, by the way. And I was like, hey, this is a theme. This is something that people can hear and understand and hopefully be motivated by and inspired by. So it's been connecting with people, and I'm very honored by that.
Keep on doing. Don't stop, Keep on moving.
That's right. Got to keep moving.
Do you have any plans in the future to do some tours and stuff like that?
I've been doing a lot of promotional dates in the States, and, I put out there with everybody who's talked to me from the UK and even to you. I mean, if there are promoters who want to bring Winston to their city or their country, I'm down. I have a passport. It's updated. I have pages that can be stamped, you know what I mean? But I'm just trying to, connect with people who want to bring me to their, city or to their club, to their location, and just bring me to the people, like I said, this is what I do. This is what I love. And, yeah, I have some dates coming up in Atlanta, of course, which is where I'm from. I have dates, a date in New York coming up, a date in L.A. coming up. I'm trying to get on a couple smaller tours regionally. So, yeah, I mean, I'm doing that thing, and I'm looking forward to getting out there and meeting the people.
So pretty soon I might be seeing you face to face when you come down here to Trinidad and Tobago. You never know.
Absolutely. I love the Trini.
I like that.
Yeah. Like I said, I went to the University of Miami, so I have a lot of friends that are from the Caribbean.
You see what I'm saying? This is your second home, man, just in case you didn't know.
All right? Oh, yeah, well, hey, I'm looking forward to finding a nice condo on the beach,
Talk that talk. They may just hold you to it, the ladies listening.
I'm serious. If you have a show, let me know. Let's do it. I'm serious.
All right, I'm holding you to it. The whole of TNT and even our listeners internationally are hearing you now, Winston, so you can't even come back on that, all right?
I hear you now.
From a professional standpoint, just to offer some advice to listeners, let's say there's someone on the outside that just wants to step in your shoe and do something like what you're doing, especially with the fact that you've been so quiet away from the scene after your hard time with your group some years ago. What sort of advice would you give someone listening now that wants to do just what you're doing?
Wow, that's another question I get, and I appreciate you bringing it up, because I like to tell people who are trying to follow my footsteps a couple things. One is you really have to perfect your craft. You know what I mean? Like if you look at a professional sports person or a footballer or, someone who plays, American football. I mean, they go to the gym, they work out, they eat well, they, have practice. And we have to do the same thing, whether we want to be a singer or a rapper or whatever. You have to do that. I mean, you have to be, a perfectionist at your craft. That's first of all. Second of all, people have to understand it's the music business. And I think it's more 40% music and maybe 60% business. Mm-hmm. So we have to understand business, which I didn't understand as a younger guy with the group. I mean, you have to understand copyrights, you have to understand trademarks, you have to understand publishing. You have to really understand the business so you won't get screwed, so that you can be, a type of person that understands what's happening with your music. And then you have to have the passion and the desire, and you really have to get people around you that know what they're talking about and who are for you, because that's another thing that I messed up on. I mean, I had people around me who talked a good game but didn't know what they were doing. Mm-hmm. And so, if you have a B team around you, then you will have a B team product. And nowadays, you have to come with your A game. You cannot come half-stepping. You have to compete with the people who are on these bigger labels with bigger budgets. So those are the three things I tell people, that you have to, hone your craft, perfect your craft. You have to understand the business. And then you have to have the drive and the determination and an A team around you. And if you do, you got to have the A team around you. If you do those three things and you have the determination, then good things are going to happen. That's how I've been able to do it.
So Winston Warrior, how do we get this Lifeology 101 album?
Well, you can get it from iTunes for sure. You can get it from Amazon.com. You can get it from CDBaby.com. You can get it from my website, which is WinstonWarrior.com. It's pretty, easy to get, I would say, if somebody wants to try to, support me in that way. And I've tried to make it as easy as possible for them to get to me.
All right, well, we're getting ready to wrap it up. So, time flies, I'm telling you, especially when you're having fun. And
Yes.
I do appreciate the fact that you gave me some time inside of your day and our listeners some time. So as we get ready to say part our ways on this interview, do you have anything you want to tell our listeners, especially those huge fans that you have here? And you know who I'm talking about, particularly a particular young lady that introduced us right here in TNT, but she's just crazy over Winston Warrior, I'm telling you. Oh my goodness.
I hope you guys can just hear me smiling through the phone of me. I'm just so honored. I really am. I mean, I just want to say thank you to you and to the Wonderful family and to all of your listeners for supporting me and supporting the song. I am a real down-to-earth kind of guy, so, reach out to me on Twitter. You can find me at Winston Warrior, Facebook, Winston Warrior. I actually follow people back. I actually tweet back. I actually, say what's up. We had those kind of one-on-one conversations. And so I look forward to them continuing to support me, following me, and hopefully I can get down to, Trinidad, one of these days and perform live for you guys and maybe be in the studio and just hang out. So, thank you is the main word I want to just leave with everybody. Thank you.
And you're welcome. And once you put it out into the universe, it will happen. So you'll be here soon. Just make sure and have your shades and your sunblock and everything, because it's hot down here.
Well, you know how I roll. I mean, I'm gonna be smooth with it.
Thank you very much, Winston. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, Sadie. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.